Hi guys, hey, welcome back to the channel. Luke here, and I'm basically going to give an overview of what the heck has been going on the last 2 weeks of my life. Probably about 3 now. For those of you that don't know or didn't see my live videos, because I might delete them just for cleanliness, you saw the video where I traded in my Hellcat for an Audi. Well, about 10 days after owning that Audi, I left my house and it started misfiring. Well, about 30 seconds later, it kind of stopped. Sorry, let me repeat that. It misfired for about 2 seconds after I pulled off of a stop light or a stop sign. And I just thought it was something, just a little stutter, I don't know, bad fuel, or it was just for a little hiccup. Well, 30 seconds later, it just started hesitating bad. The check engine or the EPC light came on, which is corresponding to the powertrain control module, basically, or the computer. I pulled over and had a code reader, and it said cylinder 6 misfire. So I was like, you gotta be kidding me. And there was another code that basically related to like an EGR vacuum pump relating to the EGR valves opening. That was a common code, I guess. There's a TSB out for it. People on the forum said it's probably not, they don't correlate. So they're like, check your plug and your coil. It's common for the coils to kind of go bad. I said, okay, well, $30 at advance. Let me go ahead and try replacing the coil and the spark plug. So I went ahead and grabbed a coil, grabbed a spark plug, and I changed them out. Cleared the codes, started the car back up, and everything was fine. Car was running perfect. No hesitation, great. So I hopped in the car and then I drove it for a test drive. And about a minute into the test drive, maybe 2 minutes into the test drive, all of a sudden the car just shut off. No warning, no noise, no nothing. RPMs to 0. I actually didn't know because the power was still on and the electric steering was doing the work, and it was a quiet car, so I didn't even know until I tried to turn onto one of my streets to go home, and there was no power. So I pulled over and I put it in park, and I tried to start the car again. It would not start. It made a rip, basically like the battery was dead or something. It would barely turn over and then stop. I said, you gotta be kidding me there. And I read the codes again, and I had another code that said starter. It was about a starter malfunction, and I'll put the codes in the bottom. Maybe if somebody wants to know what the heck they were, but it was a starter malfunction. It was physically blocked or electronically malfunctioned, and I was like, what the heck? So I, just to make sure, because I know when the batteries go dead, it does some weird electronical stuff. So I basically grabbed my wife and her jumper cables, brought her back, and they did not do anything different than before. So now I've got a motorcycle that's loud as shit right next to me. That's great. And at any rate, I've been up since like 5 o'clock in the morning driving all day, and it is now 7 o'clock at night. So, and we'll get to that story. So I call the wrecker, and he comes, and he has one of those jump boxes, and I said, look, I already tried to jump it, man, but he insisted he wanted to try it. So hooked up the jump box, started up. It was great for all of about, a half a second, until the engine actually started, and it did not sound good. It sounded like somebody threw some nuts and bolts in there and then started it up. It was bad. So of course I shut it off, and we took it to the shop, where he later found out that after some diagnosis that there was internal engine damage on cylinder number 6, which was the same cylinder that had the misfire. He thinks a piston skirt or a piston ring, or not a piston ring, but a wrist pin came apart or something in the engine. So at that point, I'd owned the car less than 10 days and drove it less than 1,200 miles, and it was interesting because I don't remember the dealer having a specific warranty per se. But working for dealerships in my life, I'm like, there's got to be at least some kind of good faith thing on a major malfunction like this, since I'd had it, less than 10 days and 1,200 miles, and 450 of those miles were driving it back, because I bought the car in Panama City. And you may be wondering why in the heck I did that, because I live about 450 miles away from there. But it was the car that I wanted. It had all the options, and it also ended up being the color that I really wanted, and it was within the price range that I wanted as well. All right, so on to the story now about how I ended up with the new car, which some of you may already know. So I bought it from a Mazda dealership, and they, after I was sitting there looking at the Audi and stranded on the side of the road, now that I drive for a living, and I was wondering how the heck I was going to get my kids around and get to work the next day, I said I just need to get something with a warranty. Once I found out that the Audi was not going to be able to be fixed for a relatively small amount of money, I was just at that point hoping that the dealer would work with me, because I was kind of SOL. I knew that it was going to be really expensive to repair an engine in an Audi, let alone finding somebody who would even do something like that. So I contacted the dealership, and after a couple days we came to the agreement that they would allow me to either they would pay to fix the Audi, but it would have to be at their dealership, or they would let me trade it in on I suggested it too. I was like, you know what, if you just give me something new with a warranty, I'd be okay with that right now. I just need to get back on the road. So they were letting me trade in the Audi at, good market value, as if it didn't have any engine malfunctions. So that was trading it in basically for the price of a new Mazda 6 Signature, which is their top of the line one. And at that point, that was okay with me, because I didn't really have much else choice. If I went the repair route, I mean, nothing to say anything bad about the dealer, but they're not an Audi dealer, and I just don't know, A, how long that was going to take, B, how much of a pain in the butt it was going to be. What if they got 2 or 3 weeks into it, and then they decided they didn't want to fix it, or they couldn't fix it, the repair was going to be too much money. I really didn't want to take that route, and I'm sure they didn't either. So I went ahead and just said, trade me into the Mazda 6. So anyway, now that we know what that is, if you didn't know what it is, I'll go ahead and show that to you now with a little cutscene. Okay guys, I'm doing this inside because it is nasty outside, and I don't want to get it wet because I just finished ceramic coating it, so don't mind my slightly messy garage. And I've got this on wide angle mode, so I have no idea what it's going to look like. Let's step outside. So of course it's not my favorite color. You guys know I'm always hot on colors, but it was this or white. So I went with this color because it had the interior that I kind of liked, which is like a chestnut color. I already got the car seats in the back, which fit good. But they did a lot of attention to detail. It's really nice. They've got that handle, kind of molded right in with that chrome piece that goes along there, and that's sleek. This armrest right here just kind of wraps around real nice and has all the controls there. Nice big pocket. It'll fit a big coffee mug, and also my 20-ounce Yeti will actually fit in here, which is nice. So what's also really neat is these air vents. See how it's nice and like kind of sharp and angled right here, and it actually sits into the door when you close it. So let's get in. See how that just kind of sits in the pocket right there? Really nice. And it goes all the way across. very BMW-ish, or Audi-ish, but I think they did it a lot better, to be honest. And this whole thing right here is suede going across. And let me get the lights on, maybe that'll help a little bit. And this is actually wood, but it's not like cheesy, shiny wood. It looks real nice. Let me see if this looks better. There we go. You can see it there. And then this is all suede as well. And a nice suede, not like the suede in the Chargers that moves and changes colors when you feel it. So nice stuff there. Soft touch material. Just about everywhere, really. And this is real stitching, I'm told. It looks like it. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not fake stitching. This center console is actually nice too. A little bit of the piano black. So, I mean, just enough piano black too, just not crazy everywhere so you're blinded by it. But really just right here is the piano black, and then the controls, like around the controls right there. So just enough, I would say. Let's see what the ignition looks like when we start it on. Maybe I should have slowed down a little bit. I don't know if that stuff's gonna come up unless I start the engine. Oh, there we go. Turn that off. One cool feature I like is the 360 camera. Woo! The 360 camera actually pops up right when you either start the car or you're about to back up. So even doesn't matter if you're pulling forward, you're pulling, to the side or whatever, you're immediately going to know everything around you. And I know a lot of other cars do that, but I mean, that's cool. I mean, the Audi didn't have that. The Charger doesn't have that. Of course, it's got the front camera, the two on the side view mirrors, and the rear camera. So that's neat. And if you did want to just flip it to the rear camera, all you do is just push the big button down here, and it'll just give you the big broad view across the back. So, and then you can cycle through all the different views, which is kind of cool. In here you can kind of tell from the way the camera does it, but that's kind of where the electronic version of the screen is. You can kind of see it, the lighter area there, which it's not as noticeable when you're looking at it with your eye. And you can change a few things in here with the info button. Like a couple trip meters, the adaptive cruise control, when your service is due, navigation, and then the needle. And it'll also make a fake needle wherever the cruise control is set. So that's neat. I haven't went through the book to see if there's really anything else I can do in here, but I've pushed a couple other buttons and haven't really got it to do much else. And then the rest of the gauges are real. But this is a signature model, so I mean, it has adaptive cruise control, lane sense, all that good stuff, and heated and cooled seats, which the cooled seats work really, really well. And the nice thing is this is super clean, not too many buttons, because you've got some controls down here to work the screen. Now, what's neat about the screen is it's touchscreen. It's touchscreen, but you can also work it with this. So it's the best of both worlds. However, they only let you work the touchscreen whenever you're stopped. So when you're driving, you can use this, but if you're just chilling, trying to punch in an address, you can actually use the keyboard. So for a lot of things driving, I really do like this knob feature, like I said, in the Audi. It was actually nice to get used to. So it's actually cool to still have that. Turn the knob for volume, push it in for mute, which is nice. You can quickly get to the nav function, the home, or music. So, there's a couple people online that said, it's like a TomTom-ish navigation. I thought it worked great. So I haven't got no problem with it. And I used it all the way back for 6 hours. Of course, your auto parking brake, auto hold. This is a kind of a weird button to, literally, this is a button, like a toggle switch for sport mode. So I just thought they could have maybe put something else there, or just not have that there and just made sport mode, I don't know, like a button somewhere else, but it's whatever. It looks good. So That's cool. The cup holders are great. They're huge, and they're deep, which is what I like. So, usually when you put cups in your cup holders, it kind of blocks that whole, resting on, because some people like to rest their arm, on the gear shifter while they're driving, and their cup holders get in the way. Well, these cup holders are so deep that your arm, when it's resting on the armrest, still kind of chills above the, the cups. So cup holders, nice. And of course you can just, fold this fancy thing over there, and then the whole thing looks nice. About these tunnels here, this, this big thing that's going all the way up here to the armrest, I didn't think I was going to like that. I felt I was going to be like too closed in, but it's actually really nice. And I'll tell you what it does is it extends the armrest. So, a lot of times the armrest, you might just get your elbow on it and you're kind of screwed. Well, now, shoot, you got an armrest all the way up. And I mean, you can just rest your entire arm on it, and it's really comfortable. I mean, look how much cushion is on that thing. So this whole area is really comfortable. A lot of padding here, super comfortable. Never had a problem with my elbow over here. Same thing, a lot of good padding here. So it's not just a hard piece of plastic. So they thought about that. A decent cubby, nothing crazy. The only thing I don't like is there's no cigarette or the 12 volt up there. It's only right here as far as I know. I haven't crazy gone over the car, but I think that's where it is. So that kind of stinks. But on the other hand, this is a nice huge cubby here, which is awesome. Nice and open. I could fit my whole fist in there. So, throwing a big phone in, I can throw my phone in totally sideways. So that's cool. I didn't mean to do a huge review on the car or anything like that. Of course, this one has the sunroof. But just to show you that, a couple nice things about it. And the ride is really nice. And, can't really complain too much. Sunroof and the LEDs, typical stuff. Sunglass holder. So that's her. I'll do a full kind of review on it at one point, but I just wanted to at least show it to you today somewhat. All right, so anyway, guys, that's the new car. Obviously it's nothing super fancy. I mean, I guess it kind of is fancy, which is actually a nice thing, but it's nothing, super crazy fast. It's going to be doing a certain purpose in my life right now for me. And, it's getting me A to B so I can go out there and make that money and get something later on down the road. Honestly, I think right now I'm going to be chilling for a little while, and I think if any money that I come across that I feel the itch to do something, it is going to be going towards turbocharging my Miata. That's something that I've really wanted to do because the car is nice and clean, and I want to just keep it that way, but I want it to have some more power. So if anything, I think I'll be modding the Miata a little bit more right now because it is not a daily driver. It's not going to affect anything if that car is down. So definitely not going to be spending any money on it anytime soon, I don't think. But if anything, it's going to be going towards the Miata. The Mazda 6 Signature is actually really nice. I might have mentioned something this when I went over it, but they've actually focused more on luxury, and that's good because that's what the Audi was doing for me, and they focused on the ride quality, which is great. The HUD is great, has a lot of information. The infotainment is not bad, pretty straightforward. All the functions, it's actually kind of funny. There's a lot in this car that remind me of the Audi. The way that it has the control knob, down here by the gear shifter, just like the Audi. The way that the vents look, just like the Audi. The way the screen's in the dash, like the Audi. There's a lot of cues they've taken from European styling. So far I like it. I've been driving it for about 3 hours, maybe a little over 3 hours, about 300 miles, and it's pretty damn comfortable so far. For a 2.5 liter turbo, it has a really, really nice power curve. You would expect a lot of turbo lag, but there isn't really noticeable turbo lag. When you need to pull out in front of traffic, the power is there. It has a lot of instant torque. So I'm pretty happy with it so far. I haven't really stomped on it from a complete stop, being that I'm trying to break it in half decent. There's about 300 miles on it, so it's probably okay now. But I'm just not, going hardcore on it. But anyway, so that's how I ended up here. And I woke up at about 5 o'clock in the morning, to drive to Panama City to pick up the Mazda. And I am, you know, like I just said, I've been driving for probably about 3 hours now, and I've got about another 2, 7, 28, 29. It says I have another 3 hours. Of course, I've been stuck in traffic for like, let's see, what seems like an hour now. So it could be true. I might have another 3 hours left. Yeah, it says 45 miles to the turnpike. Yeah, and then I got about another 2 hours from there. So yeah, it's probably about 3 hours left. Anyway, thanks for tuning into the video. I didn't want to blabber on too much, but that was kind of like the full story of how I went from Hellcat to the Audi, and then now from the Audi to the Mazda 6. So, you know, they've got a lifetime powertrain warranty on all the vehicles there, and it doesn't seem to be a sketchy one. I've looked through all the details when I was there. Just as long as the minimum maintenance required by the book is done at a reputable dealer, like an ASE certified dealer. Doesn't have to be Mazda dealer, just any ASE certified technician that you obviously have a paper trail that they put on, you know, the Carfax and stuff like that. And then they will fix any major components in the powertrain. So that's a good thing if I just decide to keep this car as a daily driver, and then buy something nicer down the road. So you know, that's not a bad thing. Anyway, again, thanks for stopping by and checking out the video. If you haven't checked out my other videos, I do have a lot on a 2018 Charger Hellcat that I no longer own, and a lot on car buying advice. So if you're ever gonna go, I mean, a lot of us buy cars eventually at some point in our life. So if you want a little bit more advice on how to negotiate that or navigate the shady waters of the internet, go check out all my videos on car buying advice. And if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments of any of those videos. I'm pretty responsive on getting to people's questions. So leave a like if you did like the video. Be sure to subscribe. Check out some of the updates maybe on this car and the Miata coming soon, and whatever I might purchase in the future. Catch you guys on the next one. Thanks for tuning in.